Ponniyin Selvan was so effing good. It is one of the greatest cinematic experiences I've had all year. This could be. I think I need a couple of more weeks and maybe months to fully establish this statement. It could be Maya Ratnam's best. And that says a lot. Only speaks to his greatness. This man has delivered insane amount of masterworks throughout his entire career, and to now deliver a film that could potentially be his best work, this man is one of the greatest to ever do it. Where do I even start? This movie has one of the greatest pacing I've ever seen from Tamil cinema. The film is around 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you do not feel the runtime whatsoever. You're so immersed into the film. The transitions from character to scene, it truly felt like I was experiencing Pony Nadi. It was a beautiful wave. It has a beautiful elegance and beauty. Every frame, every shot is executed with so much care and love. I had many moments of goosebumps just purely for the execution, for the filmmaking, for the immersion. Every time I kind of caught myself thinking, my goodness, I'm so into this and I'm just loving it, how much it's affecting me. There's so many elements in the movie that watching it for the first time, you might even glance over you, that it requires multiple viewings to fully appreciate the level of greatness and craftsmanship went into this film. A.R. Rahman's score, my goodness, it really transports you into that world, to what the world of Ponniyin Selvan is. He is another character into this film, another narrative into the film. He elevates every tone, he elevates every moment with his music. Is one of his best works, and he already delivered an insane work with Vandatena Dekadu, and we also getting Ponniyin Selvan. There isn't much else I could add to his greatness. When it comes to the cast, everybody did a wonderful job. Everybody fit the role very well. When it comes to Vikram and Karthi, they were fantastic, but we know what they're capable of with these characters. We've seen them play these kind of characters, a variation of these characters before, so it was a given that they were about to deliver a fantastic performance. Who impressed me the most was Jayam Ravi and Trisha. Also, Aishwarya was fantastic, but she has a great presence and really works to what she's capable of. You know, her look, her beauty, her eyes. There's a great force within her, and which she's fantastic at. So that's also a given. I mean, these are legendary actors, all right? So they were going to deliver great performances. We knew Trisha is fantastic, but what she brought to this role, it was something I wasn't truly expecting, because every frame she's in, she elevates to a different level. The way she talks, her tone in which she talks, the way she carries herself, her scenes are so freaking badass. Her dialogues are fantastic. I really love her ideology and that character, but the way she narrates it, the way she speaks on it, her point of view, where she is at, even when she speaks about her place in this world, there's a powerful elegance to it that you truly believe in her and have faith in her. Her character was fantastic. Her performance was amazing because she carried so much power in the way she walked, talked, smiled, and Air Rahman's BGM for that character was next level PS straight fire. I always go back and forth between her character and the Ponniyin Selvan character played by Jayam Ravi, because you guys know, I love actors who can say so much without saying nothing. And Ponniyin Selvan being this perfect good guy, I don't know whether if he'll become a king at the end of the story or not, but you can feel why this film is called Ponniyin Selvan, why everybody looks at him as this kind of a god's child, as this treasure, and Jayam Ravi carries that in every second. The way he, his broad shoulders, his stature, the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he smiles. He doesn't say much. The way he observes things, the way he's thinking. There's so much depth and layers that he had to bring without conveying way too much emotions, but you had to feel everything he feels. The minimalistic yet profound performance he was able to deliver was something I was actually seriously surprised. Might be my favorite performance from Jayam Ravi because it was so good. He's a guy that you believe when somebody said, "I'll put my life on the line for Ponniyin Selvan," and you believe it even when Jayam Ravi might not even say a word about it. And there's so much elements in this film are executed visually without even much dialogues. And for a based on what I've heard, such a rich text within the novel. There's so much dialogues in the novel, but Manoratham's touch of visual storytelling is still present in boundary pushing levels. He utilizes every technique of filmmaking, every component of filmmaking, shot composition, to minimalistic dialogues, to performance, to lighting, and Rahman's music to tell more than what we hear, more than what we see. That's why I said this might be Manoratham's best work because it is best of everything he can possibly do, plus pushing more boundaries. As a fan of Tamil cinema, as a fan of cinema in general, Ponniyin Selvan is one of the greatest works, and why Tamil cinema is amongst the top two greatest industries in the world with Hollywood. For me, that's always been the case. I always knew the potential of Tamil cinema. Sometimes they do disappoint me. But this year, we got Vandit the Cardiff, Vikram, and Ponniyin Selvan. They've been killing it within mainstream filmmaking because the way we genre blend is something no other film industries in the world can truly do. I do believe that Tamil cinema is the best mixture of the entire Indian cinema and one of the most unique storytellers out there. And Ponniyin Selvan is one amongst the greatest examples of that. And for me, it was a surreal, special, goosebumps filled experience. I freaking loved it. I love when a movie doesn't tell me what to feel and let me feels it through the execution, through the performance, through the writing, through the brilliant filmmaking. And that is what makes it special. That's what makes me love cinema. And Ponniyin Selvan is one of the best films of the year. And it is very close for me. Vanditende the Kadu and Ponniyin Selvan constantly go back and forth because I love those two films. Because narratively, dialogues are important, but it's the visual storytelling that truly penetrates through your bones. So it's important to have the right balance. And Manoratnam is one of the greatest visual storytellers. So for him to take such a dense novel based on what I've heard from people, because I don't know nothing about Ponniyin Selvan, I'm a new fan who walks into this world and experience for what it is, to knowing and hearing about people talking about the novel. My mom has read the novel and it's so dense and so much, it's so detailed in writing and dialogues. So the film do not rely too much on that and believe in the audience's intellect. That is something I truly respect coming from Tamil cinema because that is not usually the case. Every character has a purpose, every character has a point of view in which they're coming from. I think the most intriguing story out of all characters is the Vikram character because his story has the most depth, I think the most relatable one, yet it's the one that we get the least developed because I think it's more of an informational experience rather than an emotional one. I do love that his story goes from this beautiful monologue that was delivered by Vikram and a very creative camera choice to feel what he feels within those two eyes. Also, that transition into that song, for those who have seen the film knows what I'm talking about, that makes it satisfied. So initially it starts off more of an informational aspect of the story and then it becomes emotional through A. Rahman's score. So that balance, I think that portion speaks to why Manoratnam is so great. Because he probably also understands that in the grand scheme of things, this story might not be the most significant aspect, but it is the most interesting aspect in the film itself. So, how can you convey that and execute that? Also, serve the overall bigger picture of what Ponniyin Selvan is. So, to balance that out, to pick and choose the right points and moments to deliver, it would have been a massive task. I would love to see the behind the scenes process, the early stage of putting the story together. How did they pick and choose? What was the thought process behind it? Would have been very interesting to see. As far as I see it, the way he was able to take this large, dense text and condense into this beautiful piece of art, also deliver a strong visual storytelling, speaks to who Manratham is and one of the goats in world cinema. With all that being said, guys, let me know what y'all thought of this film. How was the experience, and who is your favorite character or the story you resonated with the most? And looking forward to seeing how that concludes in part two. And for those who read the book, how you felt about it? I'm very curious about that as well because I'm somebody who never read it, and for me, the film was a masterclass. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and see y'all on my next one. Salute.